Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only podcast where your name gets spelled wrong in the credits of a movie. I'm your host, Ryan Knightsey, and with me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing on this fine 40-year anniversary Sunday morn?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Now we're talking.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
We're in. We are in.
I'm doing great. Obviously, we skipped last week. Things came up, things happened.
I was sick for like all week. I was almost going to die from sickness.
Yeah, you were sick.
I was so down. I was out of that. I was out.
Anyways, we're here for the 4th anniversary of Ring Post Radio, which is pretty cool. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
No?
Mm-hmm.
No one? All right, cool.
Yeah, technically, I believe our 40th anniversary was last Friday, the previous Friday, whatever it was.
Yeah, well, we're using it as a 4th anniversary now, so
deal
with it. And we're going to talk about everything we don't love.
Which, I think coincidentally sums up the show in some ways. It's not like a big anniversary, like a 5-year or 10-year or something, but for a 4-year to have a podcast, we're going to talk about a lot of WWE nonsense, or we're going to get angry. So get excited for that, folks. I think that's only fair. I think that's only fair for Ring Post Radio to be that as it is. But Scotty, how are you doing? How's everything going? Obviously, we weren't here last week, so
I have a headache.
Nice.
I had a headache for like 24 hours.
Another point about Ring Post Radio's 40th anniversary, both of us coming in
underwell. Yeah. Felt pretty shitty last night. Feel better today, so that's nice. And life goes on. We're here.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to share some rage. Like I don't know. This is a unique episode and a fitting one. Obviously, this could have happened last week, but it didn't, and now it will just happen today. And it's kind of crazy to think SummerSlam was just last weekend. I feel like so much has happened since then, in a way. But hey, I found a way to see John Cena live without having to give WWE a dime, so I won in the end.
That's you saw John Cena live. Okay. Did you see a movie? Is that what you're saying?
No. He did this convention in Boston.
Oh.
So I got to see him talk about just life and stuff instead of giving WWE any of my money. So
what was the big piece of life advice that John Cena gave you?
Be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
He also
the irony of a wrestler saying that is crazy.
He also hilariously again said that he doesn't book his own opponents.
That will come up later today for sure.
And I was like, man, him and Triple H are on a great spot right now. They clearly are like this right now. No, but he said some really good stuff. He talked about because someone asked him like, why don't you have kids? And he answered, he had like a very adult response and a very like authentic and real response, something that, maybe more wrestlers could have had once upon a time. But yeah, he was great, and I've seen him on his retirement tour now, so I can move on in my life.
Well, that's good. That's good. I don't think I ever will. I don't know if they'll ever come back to Atlanta.
Doubt it, and I don't think you will either way.
I guess I could have seen Goldberg on his retirement tour, but I guess I'll never see John Cena on his retirement tour now that I think about it. So that's fun. That's fun. Eat a butt, WCW. that's what I get from that. Well, yeah. So yeah, Ring Post Radio, 40 years of Ring Post Radio. 4 years ago, we've started it all doing this podcast basically weekly for 4 years straight. I think that's quite the accomplishment, Scotty, and I very proud of doing this show and very proud of doing this weekly with you. And now we got to break off another episode talking all about the WWE and how much they suck and how much we don't enjoy them and why. And I think specifically, why. And I think listeners of our show understand why and all these sort of things. But, I think it's an important thing to talk about, especially after the SummerSlam weekend, because we didn't talk about it last week. We weren't here last week. So we'll talk maybe some ice cold takes about the show itself, but there's a lot of fallout and business stuff for WWE itself that is important to talk about. There's obviously the Brock Lesnar stuff that is number one to talk about. There's the new ESPN deal that WWE announced for their PLEs. I believe just their PLEs going to ESPN. And of course, another quarter, another record profits for the company. So a lot to talk about for them as well. Triple Mania is this weekend. So of course, we'll talk about that a little bit. New Japan G1 Climax, their finals is next week as well. And we're already getting, I believe Block A is completely situated for the playoff tournament gimmick. And then Block B will be figured out, I want to say on Wednesday is when those, and even then, someone in Block B is already in the playoff tournament. The IWGP champion, Zack Sabre Jr. is already in. So we'll get the rest of those people, I believe, situated on Wednesday. And then the playoff tournaments will take place. And then next week is the G1 Climax finals. But before get there, of course, we got to talk about the WWE. We got to talk about SummerSlam. We got to talk about this show, Scotty. And more importantly, all the stuff surrounding the show. I guess
something happened.
A couple things happened. There were 2 nights, of course, so there's plenty of time for things to happen. I don't quite remember a lot of the things. What I do remember, Scotty, are the moments.
Can I explain how my brain worked on Sunday of SummerSlam? Sure. I don't remember Saturday of SummerSlam, so don't ask me about it. Oh wait, Seth Rollins cashed in. Yeah, that sucked. Anyways,
he fooled the world, Scotty. It was the greatest work shoot in the history of wrestling. I believe is what he described it as.
Yeah, he got us all. Really fooled me. No, so I was kind of on cloud 9. I thought I got my last great John Cena match. I was happy as could be. John Cena made it through the match, still babyface, no swerve whatsoever. Him and Cody Rhodes did what they did, and I was like, that was great. But Ryan, you know this. With WWE, you always have to fear something. So as much as I was enjoying the moment, I was like, I don't know. I feel like something's going to happen. And then maybe the worst thing possible happened besides Vince McMahon himself walking through the door. And I just said, well, I said a lot, but I said, screw this. I'm done. And yeah, that is where I've been since then with the WWE. The problem is, too, I think no one was surprised.
Yeah, I think that in hindsight, it's also so ever more clear, and we get more evidence that showcases people's mindset and thought process on the Brock situation and everything. But we always thought that it was plausible, and there were things that Triple H has said in the past regarding Brock that was always open to well, he's off doing Brock things. It's not oh, we're not using Brock and he's not returning. It was oh, he's off doing Brock things, which is leaving the door open. And there's all these sort of things that Triple H keeps saying that allows the doors to remain open. And I think to a certain degree, Scotty, I think there's not necessarily similar things, but there's I think a similar sentiment to what Triple H says regarding Vince. So I think that's also a concerning thought in different ways. I think this week as well, he said regarding Vince something along the lines of he oh crap, I'm losing it. What was it? It was that complicated relationships or something like that. And it's it's still, yeah, I guess it's not a no. The problem is the guy never gives no's. And I guess that's and when it comes to these guys, that's really the awful thing, right? So yeah, Brock Lesnar returns after SummerSlam Night 2, beats up John Cena. Cody's the new WWE champion, Scotty, but that's not what anyone's talking about. CM Punk won the title. That's not what anyone's talking about. Seth Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank, and I would also say no one's talking about that either, really. But a big time moment. Brock Lesnar returned to the company, guy that was obviously named in the Janelle Grant sexual assault, sex trafficking lawsuit by Janelle Grant, of course. Not somebody, to be clear, of course, not someone who is the defendant of the case. That, of course, is Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and the WWE itself. He is just sort of someone that became named in the lawsuit and sort of a star witness to the whole thing, which ironically made me think about, when someone said star witness, it made me think about the Hogan steroid trial, about how Hogan went up, was the star witness, and ultimately lied. And then I had a thought of, oh, if you bring Brock up, he's just going to lie. Why? Because why wouldn't he? So that's fun. That's fun. Obviously, they're going to have to, the Janelle Grant case will have to have people that to counteract Brock Lesnar's thing. Maybe someone like a John Laurinaitis who has flip-flopped over and over again. Other women, maybe Terry Reynolds, maybe someone from Brock Lesnar's past who he's done similar sexual allegations with. Terry Reynolds, who knows? But look that up. But yeah, so he's returned. The company decided to bring him back. According to Dave, Nick Khan's attitude, this is from the most recent Wrestling Observer newsletter, Nick Khan's attitude as a general rule is that unless there is a criminal conviction, it's not an issue. Now, again, technically, Brock Lesnar, not a part of the actual defendant of the case. He is not on trial here, right? Brock Lesnar technically not on trial here. So even when this case gets wrapped it up and everything, it's not like Brock is going to go to jail or anything. And we talked about at the time that it's like, in the lawsuit itself, I couldn't really find specific instances where Brock did specifically anything, but at the very least, what Brock's at a point of this is the sex trafficking point of the case, which is that he was used, or Janelle Grant rather was used as a way to coerce Brock Lesnar into re-signing with the WWE. And things were promised, but the lawsuit doesn't quite specify things to the detail of like the Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis stuff, obviously. So maybe things happen. I'm not entirely sure. The lawsuit doesn't necessarily make that clear, but at the very least, it makes it clear that she was used in a sort of sex trafficking contract aspect of things. So Brock not even facing a criminal conviction. Even then, Scotty, if I'm not mistaken, sexual assault and all these sort of things, not a criminal conviction, not criminal, it'll be civil. So that leaves the door open for Vince McMahon to return, because it wouldn't be a criminal conviction that he would receive. Mostly the sexual harassment lawsuits. It's very difficult for whatever reason. Our country, Scotty, makes it really difficult for those people facing sexual assault and all these sort of things. The defendants, not the accusers. The defendants have a really, I guess I should say, the accusers have a really hard time convincing people of what the defendants have or haven't done. But so, or whatever, that's a whole nother issue. But yeah, Brock Lesnar's back. He's not facing a criminal conviction in any capacity right now, obviously. But even then, this is a civil case. He's not going to get Vince isn't even going to get a criminal conviction. And the company has decided that for whatever reason, now is the time where they no longer care, or something in their lawyers believe it is fine and it does not matter for Brock to return to the company. Obviously, they changed their tune. At one point, they decided for him to not be around for the past, year, 2 years, or whatever it was. And they changed their tune. And I think that's where it all begins, Scotty, is why did the company, what changed in this company to suddenly be like, okay, it's okay. I believe Triple H's phrase, Scotty, was, it's time for him to come home. What changed in this company's mindset that it is okay now for someone named in a sexual assault lawsuit, sex trafficking lawsuit, to return to the company? I cannot comprehend, truly.
Well, they've openly cared less and less about what others think about them as this year has gone on, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about that a number of times. In whether it be them showing their true colors in terms of being openly political or other things like that, right?
Which of course, last week Triple H showed up in the return of the presidential grand fitness test.
Yeah, they showed it like 7 times on SummerSlam alone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've gone down the path of we don't care what anyone thinks of us, because at the end of the day, they're making record money, they're making record deals. No one's going to slow them down.
Mm-hmm.
So to them, if they can bring back Brock Lesnar to add to what they think is something that's seemingly unbeatable at this point in terms of stopping people from watching or anything like that, then they're going to do it. As been reported, they've never suspended him, they've never stopped paying him. They have not stopped doing anything of that sort. And now it's just a matter of we're going to pay him to do his job now.
Yeah, it was reported by Dave in the Observer as well that WWE never actually suspended him. That WWE, according to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, has been paying him for the past 2 years of him sitting on the sidelines. That's not great either. All this time, people are thinking, "Oh, my money and time is not going to this company that's paying for this man." No, it is. It still has. It has been the entire time, past 2 years. The wool has been pulled over the eyes, Scotty, or removed. I don't know what the situation is here. And yeah, I think that's the great point here is that I think, maybe obviously I think a big part of it is maybe some of the lawyers or whatever said it's fine. But I think a big part of what you're talking about is that I think there's just, it's not that there isn't a lack of care, because I do think they know what they're doing is bad PR wise, which sucks that we're just saying PR wise, not morally or ethically, but PR wise, they know it's bad, which is partly
but that's
why
how they don't care.
Yeah, but it's partly why they canceled the press conferences, right? So it's
sure,
like there's an element of them not caring, but there's also an element of like, well, yeah, they care enough to cancel the press conferences and not want to have to answer the questions about it. And instead just do PR boost after PR boost of Triple H saying, "Come back, we're ready to bring him home," or Paul Heyman saying he's the best ever or whatever. I forget what Paul Heyman's quote is, but it's like
they care enough not to have to face the music, but they don't care in that they just do it. They just do whatever they want, and
there's a lack of remorse. There's a lack of care for anyone in the locker room. I think that's the bigger thing for me. They care about.
This told you they care nothing about the women of their locker room.
Yeah, I think that's delineation, Scotty. They care about the PR a little bit. They don't care about anyone in the locker room. They don't care about
how the company. They care how the company looks. That's it.
Yeah, and even then, they are willing to bring. They are more willing to bring back Brock Lesnar. Which, look, there is this other aspect of Brock outside of this, as he is a genuine. We'll see how he is now with with the sexual assault allegations and everything, but he, or not necessarily allegations, but correlations. Brock Lesnar is like a genuinely big draw for the company, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons they kept bringing him back over and over again. He's, a fun wrestler to watch. People like seeing guys throw over the place. For a company like TKO now, he is obviously a crossover star between the UFC and WWE. This is something that we all talked about when the TKO merger started, was the appeal of Brock literally being a crossover star. With WWE and the UFC, so it makes sense for them. And look, and the company WWE still very much doing well, very much doing great, but obviously there is some their ratings are softening, their attendance is still very much softening, still again doing very strong. But when all those things started moving down, which in part, Scotty, I think is due because of that John Cena heel turn, it kind of weirdly has now opened the door of, well, we need someone that's going to draw and bring back the houses. And which in a company like WWE, especially Triple H run WWE, likes surprises and likes returns, a lot and likes, big wrestlers returning or whatever, who is someone that can return to our company that can immediately turn the business around and boost the ratings and boost the live attendance? Well, who have we been paying for the past 2 years and not using? Well, it's Brock Lesnar. He's already on the payroll. Just bring him back. It doesn't matter. I think that sucks. I think all of it sucks, Scotty. I think so much of this sucks. I think the lack of care for all of the women, all the everyone in the office, everyone obviously. I think that's more importantly. It's not just the roster; it's the office, because obviously Janelle Grant was not a roster member.
Right.
It's everyone in the office, especially the women. Everyone on the roster, especially the women. The lack of care for your employees, both 1099 or not, is absurd. It is absurd that this company just does not give a shit about anyone else. They are full on just like, oh, it's complicated relationships and all these sort of things. And we talked about this a little bit 2 weeks ago with the passing of Hulk Hogan, right? That I think this is what I've sort of come around to in my thought and process of it. You always get the phrase of separating the art from the artist. And I talk about all the time a little bit that there is this delineation of separating the art from artists and how can you do it and all these sort of things. And, in the conversation we had about Hulk Hogan, obviously that conversation included, Scotty, kind of thing of like, well, with Hulk Hogan, you don't really separate the art from the artist because the art and the artists are the same and they evolve and they're really both. They take up everyone has multitudes, right? That other phrase. Everyone includes multitudes. Hulk Hogan was one of the biggest wrestlers of all time, but he was also a union buster, a extreme racist, steroid user, all these sort of things down the line. That he's both. He's super MAGA at the end of his life. Whatever's happening now with the Scientology stuff, which I'm not going to touch that with a 14-foot pole. But
how about a 15-foot pole?
Well, we'll consider, I guess. Saying yes for the joke. But this idea of like, no, you don't. I don't think you separate the art from the artist. I think it's the fact that people can contain multitudes and be all things, and that applies to Brock Lesnar. He's I think, a fun wrestler to watch. People throwing people around is always fun to see. He's obviously a charismatic performer in that right, but at the same time, he's a guy that is mired with sexual assault, various sexual, misgivings, misdoings, throughout his career and life. And he's both. You don't separate the art from the artist. You get in the return of a guy that's going to be a draw. You get in the return of a guy that is going to be a fun wrestler to certainly watch, but you're also getting the return of someone that is part of this sexual assault lawsuit and has that history of that in this company, in the lack of care for any of that. And I think that's what's important for us here is that we shouldn't separate the art from the artist, because we're all there. Brock Lesnar is all things, and Hulk Hogan was all things, and Vince McMahon is one of the greatest promoters of all time, but also a horrendous monster, right? So it's a lot. It's a lot to unpack, and the lack of care for everyone in the back office and everything is upsetting. It's upsetting, Scotty.
Yeah, the company doesn't care. They told you they don't care. They're going to keep telling you they don't care, and they're going to try to blame everything on everyone else besides themselves. Triple H did it legitimately minutes after the return happened, right? He was like, oh, well, John Cena's asking for these guys, and John Cena literally said almost immediately the next day, I don't ask for my opponents. I just take on whoever I face. That is Triple H 101. Blame everyone for things people don't like and take all the credit for everything people do like. I watched 2 episodes of WWE Unreal, and it's just him taking credit for everything that went successful and throwing away credit that doesn't. That is what he does.
I forgot we didn't talk about WWE Unreal yet.
I stopped watching it because I didn't finish it before SummerSlam was over, and I said, I'm good. I think for me, a lot of it comes down to, again, as someone who covers women's wrestling and things like that, obviously I look at that factor a lot, and I think I think watching someone like Brock, who has done what he has done, not even just in this one case, but before, obviously, it's just a slap in the face for, I think, their women's wrestlers and such. And I'm not going to be the one either, though, that is like, well, they could just leave the company. It's like, no, they can't. First of all, that's just not how jobs work in a world of, especially pro wrestling, where you can't just have someone like, oh, I quit. It's just livelihood.
Obviously, you could try, but
I guess they could try, but like, it's livelihood. It's, so many of them are probably making career changing money. Not everyone's going to be able to leave and become Mercedes Moné. There's different things to say here. So it's such a tough conversation. I don't expect any of those wrestlers to get up and leave. I would never expect anyone to do that. But you would, in many ways, hope that they're protected in one way or the other, especially when a guy like this comes back around. And I don't know if that's the case. When it comes to,
I think puts a little pressure on the wrestlers of bumping up against their own morality of this sort of thing.
Right. Pressure that they don't need to be having. Right. We've talked about it a lot over the past couple of years with all of this, and how surely difficult it can be for some. And it's a difficult situation to grasp the human side for people, because I think when it comes to roster members, they're just there to do their job.
At
the end of the day, that's all they're trying to do, right? And so much of their jobs entertaining the people, entertain the crowds. That's why they're there. And now they have to deal with this other thing. And maybe for some of them it's like, well, he's around once in a while, we don't really have to deal with him. But it's like you said, there is the morality aspect of it as well. When it comes to WWE, we've known for a long time who they are. They are rotten beyond the core. It's not to the core, it is beyond the core. It is every bit of that office and so on. And at the end of it, it's just kind of what you expect and what you do. And I think for me, as someone who has very little interest in watching a lot of things that they do moving forward, and don't really need to cover a show by or a pay-per-view by pay-per-view basis anymore on this show, I will still watch a thing here and there because I still want to see the women's wrestling aspect of it. I'm going to watch John Cena's last match. These are things I know I'm going to do. But I have no need to talk about it. We could talk about these types of things because I think these types of things need to be covered.
The business, the news, that
right.
That sort of thing.
I don't need to sit here and go match by match from SummerSlam anymore, right? We don't need to review Clash in Paris in a few weekends. That's no part of that needs to happen from this show moving forward. And that's because we didn't really like to do it in the first place to begin with. So just, cutting bait,
that's
like
our 4-year anniversary gift to ourselves, I guess.
Yeah. They don't deserve our time and our conversation. And unless something dramatically changes, which I don't see happening, they will not be covered, I think, on here anymore. Now, obviously, this is a two-way street. I'm not just saying that's just for me, but when I finished SummerSlam, I had pretty much messaged Ryan, I don't even want to talk about this show. And ultimately, throughout the week since then, we were like, we just don't need to. We don't need to do this anymore. There's no point. There isn't a point. At the end of the day, they're going to make money. At the end of the day, if I talk about it or not doesn't really freaking matter. But hey, the good news is in 2026 we may not even be able to fucking see it, so that helps too, based on their new deal.
That's a great point. I mean, you look, this is a conversation that Scotty and I have been having, and it's like kind of a conversation we've been having like on the show for the past couple months, a little bit too, like ever since the new year. It's just kind of, you know, a couple weeks or months ago or whatever, I had that whole spiel of like, you know, with the, you know, when we were previewing the Saudi show and talking all that stuff of like, look, this is a company that like you really can't boycott per se, right? They get guaranteed money from the WWE pay-per-views and PLEs and all these sort of things, and their TV. So I can't necessarily boycott watching their product. The only way I can actively, and that's obviously where they make the majority of their money, like tenfold majority of their money.
Me not watching it, right? Me not watching show by show or match by match, every single match that they do will not affect them.
No, it cannot. They have stopped themselves from being affected by that completely. The only way we can affect WWE monetarily, Scotty, is not buying merch, not attending live shows.
That's why I said the thing about Cena. I was like, I'm not going to a live show for this company. I refuse. Yeah. So the moment I learned that he was,
we can't even afford to go to the live shows
anymore. That too. But like, I'm going to be honest with everyone. From serious consideration, the idea of John Cena's last match being in Boston, that was something that interests me. Maybe I would have no money for the rest of my life if I wanted to go, but that was a decision to make at a later date.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have the interest. I saw a chance to see the man live and in person on his retirement tour where he just talked for 45 minutes and I didn't have to pay that WWE a single dime.
Yeah.
That to me was my other side. Because I will listen, plain and simple, I'm always going to love John Cena, no matter
the
many things that come with him, right? Like he's not perfect, obviously. We've talked about that on the show.
Yeah.
But there's an appreciation there for that guy and what he's done and all that. So I found my road, and I kind of am telling others, if you are upset with WWE, if you are angry with WWE, you don't have to feel like you need to cut it all out if you want to watch a match here and there. I think that's important just to say, because like, you know,
especially
people will
upload it, or maybe you go through other memes and things to watch this stuff.
That's where I was going. I was like, you just don't have to watch it on Peacock. You can go find it,
or ESPN,
or Netflix, or ESPN. Like you can go find it and watch it somewhere else. You don't have to give them their money. But here's the other thing: if you do subscribe to ESPN, right? Sure, when the new thing comes around, you're not giving WWE any money because they just got $1.6 billion. They are already paid.
Yeah.
Nothing for them. Like that's the thing with these deals. That's what is so annoying about all this. You can't take money away from them. Yeah. They're already paid, Ryan.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable money.
Yeah, the ESPN money that monthly subscription to ESPN is going to Disney. In fact,
right, like
or ESPN, Disney.
It's Disney. Like everything's Disney. Everything's Disney or Amazon. Like it's just.
Yeah, and I
think only do so much. So not buying tickets, that's how you do it. Not buying merch, that's literally the only way.
And I think that's also to make the point here is that like that is, I think, what the average consumer can do is to avoid all these sort of things if you really don't want to do that. There are we didn't even talk about the amount of people that stepped up on social media to defend Brock Lesnar returning to WWE. You know, the Raj Giris in the world, and I'll say it, but the Jimmy Vans of the world that are coming out there and defending the choice and the decision to bring back Brock Lesnar, which not even the way of like, well, he's a draw and he's a good wrestler, but in the way of he wasn't convicted, he did nothing wrong. Just horrendous way to back that up. Yeah, I just want to make that point.
And I'm gonna just say this now because I am the moron who sits here angry. I'm going to probably find a different way to end up watching that match eventually. I'm not proud of it, but as someone who covers wrestling, I will be very curious. And again, it's Cena's retirement tour. If it was literally against anyone else, I wouldn't watch it.
Yeah. I think that's sort of the conversation.
I'm just being honest with the people.
We have to have that conversation, I think, for the show. What we're basically
unlike WWE,
here,
I'm honest.
But no, what we're basically saying to the audience here, for listeners of Ring Post Radio, is that moving forward, our coverage of WWE is going to be we're going to limit it. We're going to limit our coverage of the WWE. To what end?
We'll talk about nothing instead. One of the greatest episodes in Ring Post Radio history.
Yeah. But to that end, I think, Scotty, is that you and I are still maybe completely not necessarily the most sure what that coverage looks like. I think we both sort of agree that, like, big news about the company, or like the lawsuit stuff, and all these sort of things that, like, we'll probably discuss, because look, it's news, the WWE. Sure. They are still the number one promotion in the world in terms of wrestling, or sports entertainment, or whatever. But so there is, like, news things, and I think there's the aspect of that, like, or like contract with roster members changes and all that stuff, signings. Like, there's still, like, things that to a certain degree affect the rest of wrestling.
Yeah,
especially like news and business wise and contracts and all these sort of things and signings, that I think there is an element of continued coverage that exists. Show to show basis, like, are we going to talk about Clash in the Paris? I'm turning full on Bret Hart here.
Close enough.
I don't think we're going to do that. Are we going to discuss John Cena's retirement show itself? Maybe not the entire show, maybe just the match. I mean, I think the Brock Lesnar return puts in questions of who that opponent's about to be.
Yeah, I'm very worried. Though there's a lot of time still. So maybe it won't be him.
Are we going to discuss the Royal Rumble? Are we going to discuss WrestleMania? Right. I think that's questions that you.
Royal Rumble's in Saudi Arabia, brother. We don't have to touch that one.
Oh, that's a good point. We don't have to touch Saudi Arabia and Royal Rumble anymore. A year of me getting removed from the Royal Rumble losing bet. Thank God.
You've been saved.
But, like, are we going to talk about WrestleMania? I don't necessarily know. Right now, I can't tell you, because I think you and I are both very frustrated about this company, and we've been frustrated. And, I sort of, sometimes question myself of, like, why is this the straw that broke the camel's back, right? The proverbial camel's back. There's so many other reasons and so many other points where we could have stopped our coverage of the WWE or limited our coverage of the WWE. And I think what you and I both sort of agree on is that the lack of care and respect for its office, its roster, and its fans that has happened over the weekend, I think for you and I, that is really that's maybe you can make the argument that that's never really been there, but the fact that it is now fully on screen really, really sucks. Also the product is bad. The product is also worse. The WCW, there's also that stuff, the WCW work shoot bullshit that Triple H is doing, and all these sort of things, and the product is also worse. So there's also that. But I've really, we've been considering this for a while, and I think it's a good time as any. The return of Brock Lesnar. I think I've seen people rebuff this, but I do think that this probably is opening or opening up the possibility of Vince's return. We didn't really talk about that, but I think that's
at this stage. At this stage, I think he will be there on camera for John Cena's retirement.
I agree.
That's where I'm at, and I absolutely despise it.
Yeah, I think this is, to a certain degree, testing the waters, right? I think Nick Khan's quote, of if they're not getting a criminal conviction, they're good. I don't know exactly when the lawsuit is going to be figured out and all these sort of things, and when it's going to go to court, if it goes to court,
Right. I can no longer sit here now that Brock Lesnar has walked back in the door, full capacity, t-shirts being sold, everything.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and tell you it'll never happen.
Yeah.
Because they have told me maybe it will.
We don't care what you think if we do it.
Right. So like, I still find it unlikely in terms of like a full-time capacity. Dude's old. But a appearance, the beginning of something, I'm not ruling out, and that disgusts me to no end. So yeah, I don't have the need to cover Clash in Paris. I don't have Clash in the Paris. I don't have, I don't have need to cover whatever next pay-per-view after that is. You get, is it Survivor Series? That seems way too early.
Yeah, feels like there'd be one other thing.
It's
probably just is there a Saudi show? Is that what's happening? I don't know.
Oh, it's the Perth one. They have a Perth.
Oh, it's Crown Jewel. It's the Saudi show in Perth. The Crown Jewel.
Yeah. My friend. Funny enough, you said that. My friend said to me, he's like, "Oh, they're going back to Saudi." He's like, "No, why?" He's like, "This Crown Jewel." Is like, "Yeah, that's not." I understand your point, but no, it's not there.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, that's odd." And I was like, "Yeah. Uh-huh." But yeah, I don't know.
I want to say this real quickly too, is that I think in some of the stuff in the previous conversations we had about WWE and these thoughts and the lawsuits and all this stuff surrounding WWE, we've had listeners reach out to us and say that they feel that we try to do a good job of covering the WWE and all these sort of things. And because I bring up on the show every once in a while how every once in a while my conflicted emotions surrounding the coverage of this company, and I would love to hear that continued thought process from people, from our listeners, to see what legitimately what do they think. Like if we get every single listener coming back to us, Scotty, that says no, they prefer to hear our thoughts on the reviews and everything, then
I mean, our reviews are funny.
I know, I think they're funny and all that stuff, and I get it. I think there's enjoyment there. I do think we provide a lot of other things beyond those, but every single listener
just the pay-per-view reviews.
Yeah, if every single listener comes back to us and says "Lo, we want to keep hearing that," then I think you and I would reconsider. But I don't know what a solution would be there. But I want to hear. I think it's a continued. I guess what I'm trying to say, Scotty, is that I think that it's a continued conversation that people need to have, and I would like to have with our listeners to say, "Hey, what do you think? When it comes to coverage, maybe there's listeners out there of Ring Post Radio that don't watch WWE, that just listen to us to follow the company, and maybe they want that coverage from us because of it. It's the constant wrestling podcaster issue of, oh, well, you gotta cover WWE because it's the biggest promotion in the world, and to a certain degree, even then, we're still saying we'll talk about the business deals and all that stuff shortly, right? But what do people want? Do listeners of our show, would they still want that pay-per-view coverage that we provided? Is that something that people are still interested in? I truly don't know. All I know is where you and I currently stand, which is we do not why should we, Scotty, care about a company that does not care about a single soul involved in it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's where I'm at, and I think that's where people need to question, and I think that's where your Raj Giris in the world need to question themselves. Of they do not give a shit about you. They don't care about the people in the office and the roster. Why should I care? Why should I watch? Why should I cover it? Maybe people have different opinions on that, and I think that's a conversation that I would like to have with our listeners. So I guess leave a comment is the solution there. But do we have any other thoughts about the Brock stuff before we'll talk about the ESPN stuff a little bit, but any other stuff about the Brock stuff?
No, it just sucks. It just sucks. Would have loved to come here and celebrate WWE falling flat on their face and admitting that heel John Cena was a stupid idea.
Oh yeah, good match, by the way. Good match. I will say that.
Yeah, Super Cena, probably the last Super Cena match type. I guess maybe against.
You don't think he's gonna get Logan Paul at Clash in the Paris?
Nope. But hey, whatever. No, yeah, it was a great match, and Cena as a babyface, for just that whole thing, I was like, man, they were stupid, but I'm not. I mean, that's not even praising the company; that's telling them they're stupid again. And that's a very funny thing. You can see a genuine John Cena when he's himself, and when he was trying to be something he's not. Right? I think that was the fascinating thing. Oh, I do want to say one last thing about SummerSlam, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What does Seth Rollins have over Triple H? I just need to understand. What why is this always happening? Anyways, we can talk about ESPN and the bonkers deal that everyone understandably complained about this week. But I read 1.6 billion and said, that's why they did it.
Oh yeah. Well, before we move on to that, I just want to say, of course, this is from this was a close off the Brock Lesnar loop. This is a quote, a representative Janelle Grant that released a statement about Brock Lesnar's return. This is a statement that was provided to Samantha Shipman from Fight Game Media. The quote is as follows. Quote, for far too long, abuse was allowed to thrive under WWE's leadership. Instead of righting this wrong, WWE has done nothing to ensure those responsible are held accountable. This attempt to sweep misconduct under the rug will backfire. We look forward to the full set of facts, including those about Mr. Lesnar, coming out in a court of law where they belong. But in the meantime, we refer you back to Janelle Grant's updated complaint, which outlines in detail the abuse she endured by McMahon and others while employed at WWE. So again, that is a representative of Janelle Grant for the lawsuit that, of course, Brock Lesnar is named in all over the place in that lawsuit. ESPN. So WWE, they announced on Tuesday, I believe it was, same day as the quarter two announcements, which were insanely great again. WWE Premium Live events to stream domestically on ESPN in 2026, or I guess rather starting in 2026. According to the Wall Street Journal, the deal is reportedly for $1.6 billion over 5 years. This is $325 million per year. An official start date was not announced, but it's all certain to begin at the very least by time for WrestleMania for Las Vegas. Quote, select events will also be simulcast on ESPN's linear networks. WrestleNomics Brandon Thurston noted that ESPN will stream both pre and post shows for the PLEs as well. These are the sort of like conference room sort of conversations they'd be having. Along with that, Disney announced that they're really pushing the ESPN streaming deal. I think part of it is because they're closing up Hulu. They're closing up the Hulu doors finally, since they own that. And just merging everything with Disney Plus. So to that degree, instead of having 3 streamers, they have 2 streamers.
Right.
So when
because now Disney Plus and ESPN are the 2, right?
Yeah, it will become Disney Plus and ESPN. Plus, I guess.
They're just calling it ESPN.
Really?
That was a thing they specifically said.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because part of the idea is that what they're trying to do with ESPN is make it so that it's if you have cable, you have access to ESPN. If you have streaming, you can get ESPN on streaming. They're trying to make it ubiquitous across everything. Plus, if I'm not mistaken, at the same time, the NFL has just become like a minority owner of ESPN.
I was going to explain why they're going all in on this, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
So
let me just say that they announced that the ESPN streaming service August 21st is the launch date. I thought it was already existing, but I don't know why they're saying a launch date. But it's going to be $29.99 per month, $300 per year if you so choose. But yeah, $30 a month moving forward for that deal. Well, go ahead, Scotty.
Yeah. So what this essentially is, and this kind of goes on in sports. Like we have the regional network charges around that so you can see. So if you don't have cable, you can see like Red Sox and Bruins games all year long. Yeah. So sports kind of ramps up the price a little bit more because it's sports and you can't get the sports without having certain deals. And so the reason ESPN's going all in on this is because they have now bought NFL Network, and with that, NFL has a 10% stake in ESPN now. It's a very unique deal that they made, but ultimately what they went to do was get NFL Red Zone, which, if you don't know what that is a weekly Sundays only stream where they will show you every single game on one show all Sunday long. It is like the most popular thing, and that used to be like a premium channel you'd get with cable. Right. So this was a premium channel. You would have to subscribe to like the next sports package or whatever if you had cable. So now they're bringing that into ESPN instead. So if you want Red Zone if you want Red Zone, if you want WWE pay-per-views, if you want all these big things, you now have to subscribe to this big ESPN streaming service, which I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember like the Titan Sports service that they were trying to make a few months ago?
Vaguely.
Like they were trying to put every sport pretty much on one big one and charge a lot of money, and that didn't work because people were like, I don't think that's legal. Which was it was a really cool idea, but it just didn't come to pass. So ESPN has kind of went forth with doing it themselves. So essentially what you'll get with the ESPN thing is ESPN, right? ESPN Plus, the streaming service I think you were kind of alluding to of like, oh, I think this already exists. ESPN Plus didn't give you everything that like their linear television gave them. Like it was bonus stuff. You could watch some games and things like this, but this is ESPN, ESPN2, every game that's ever played, NFL Red Zone, WWE pay-per-views. That is what this big package is now. If you are a sports fan, if you are a WWE fan, you are getting a lot for, like, yes, it's $30 a month, which is insane. But if you have cable, if you have YouTube TV, if you have like these things already, you get it with it. So it's essentially, unless you just want ESPN, you have ways to get it. But it's a fascinating business move by them, and I'm fascinated to see how it goes as someone very interested in that side of things, because it's a big idea, and ultimately, it's kind of the vision of streaming pretty much just going back to being cable in a different form. That's what this is. But this gives you all your sports in one spot. Well, not every sport, but a lot of sports in one spot. And it gives you, like I said, NFL Red Zone, which from my past, I know I had to pay extra money for anyways. And it gives you WWE pay-per-views, which you got to pay for extra money anyways, and so much more. And I'm sure they'll only keep adding. I'm sure it doesn't stop here. But $30 a month is steep. But if you are a football fan, if you are now a WWE fan, or if you just have cable, it may not matter. But it's a fascinating move that I do think you're right in that it is part of Hulu going away as well. So now, Disney Plus will have all the TV aspects, TV movies, and now ESPN will have all the sports, because Hulu also sometimes had the sports stuff, right? Had the live TV aspect, I think. Like, I don't know if it was like called Hulu Plus or something. But that's like the unique system they're going with forward now. And yeah, I think it's very interesting, and I think they're wasting their money getting the WWE pay-per-views, quite frankly. I don't think that's going to be like this major game changer for them, but hey, it's an addition to their services, and they're probably, by the sounds of it, going to lose UFC, so it feels like a replacement for that in many ways as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave me a little bit of time there, because there was some slight, not necessarily most important breaking news, but a slight WWE contract news that started happening. Not a big thing, but I don't know how to read into this, but Karrion Kross and Scarlett had moved to the alumni section, and their contracts are currently expired. Even though this week we got a bunch of news about how they're getting a new deal, a new contract, but apparently it wasn't signed or given to them or something, because now they're not signed anymore or whatever. And then other than that, Tahuti Miles, Shante Theodonis, announced that he is departing from WWE. His contract expired. He did not get a new one. He's leaving WWE. So I got that confirmed from Sean Ross Sapp and everybody.
Interesting. So WWE is going down the path of expiring contracts and not releases.
Well, at least for these people, or whatever's happening if Karrion Kross.
Yeah, that's not me saying that there won't be a day where they just cut a bunch of talent again. Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know how to feel about that yet, but we'll see how this is. I mean, Ashante Theodonis, he wasn't really doing much anyways. He could
contract
be a good hand.
Expiring, or
to me, he's a guy that's like, oh, he might just go to TNA or whatever.
Yeah, I have no thoughts on Ashante the Adonis. I didn't even know he was still in the company until you just told me.
That's fair. ESPN deal. So part of the announcement, the accessibility to archive content was not mentioned. So it's unclear exactly where that is going to go, if anywhere. Obviously, in the past year or so, WWE started doing like the WCW YouTube channel and the NXT YouTube channel, and started uploading like full events there. So it's unclear exactly where it's going to go. I would reckon, Scotty, based off of those YouTube uploads and everything, and channel uploads and the vault and all that stuff, that kind of think the archive might start going away. The majority of the archive might start going away of the dodo. Obviously, if like Netflix, for instance, they have the raw vault, which
Peacock isn't out though.
Peacock is not. It's so confusing. It's like Peacock is not out. Right now, what we know is that the PLEs in the new year, at some point in the new year, are moving to ESPN. The archive content.
Just the main roster PLEs.
Yes. The archive content, Raw's archive content is on Netflix. The rest of it is currently on Peacock and remaining on Peacock. I don't know.
Yeah,
genuinely,
that's what it sounds like. It sounds like no one has a clue. Also,
it's possible that
you're right.
WWE currently doesn't have a clue.
Yeah. I mean, when you hear 1.6 billion, why figure everything else out? Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. I have no freaking clue what they're doing or what they're thinking. Other than we're making more money. I think there was tossed around. I don't remember who said this. The idea of like Peacock getting like AAA and TNA and NXT as kind of
that's a big
continuation.
Point, is that this is the main roster deals. This is not the NXT PLEs are not part of this deal, so they are still up in the air.
So it again, just following in what I've read. I don't know who said it, so I'm sorry. Mostly because I just read it and laughed, for being quite honest. But like the idea that Peacock stays in the wrestling business through the subsidiaries of WWE rather than the mainstream, while also keeping some archive, maybe of some sort. I don't really know. I don't think anyone knows. But WWE is making it really, really, really difficult to be a fan. Like not for me. I don't give a shit. I'm sure, and there are means to watch shows, so it's not really that difficult or taxing for us, and we don't really care either way. But they're making it really hard for their own fans to watch their shows. You have to go. So this is what you need to do now, Ryan, to watch WWE in 2026. You have to subscribe to Netflix to watch Monday Night Raw. You have to you have to find a way to watch Friday Night SmackDown on USA. You have to find a way to watch NXT on CW, which, by the way, that one is all the more difficult because like finding that archive, I think that's literally on like the CW app. I think that's what you have to use. So okay, that's the 3 shows.
Yeah.
Then
not including AAA or TNA or any of these outstanding bubbles.
Yeah. Then you have to subscribe to Peacock to watch NXT PLEs.
Potentially.
We're just going to assume that until told otherwise.
Yeah.
Then you have to subscribe to the $30 a month ESPN streaming service to watch all pay-per-views moving forward. Unless you have TV or cable or something, then you'll be fine and it won't affect you. That's still a lot of different means to watch all of WWE.
Yeah, and also more expensive. That ESPN number going from Peacock of $10 a month to 30, it's a lot.
Now again, if you have cable, you're paying nothing. I'm trying to understand how that works. We will figure that out in due time. But you in a matter of 5 years, right, have gone from being able to watch all of WWE on Peacock, pretty much, except for SmackDown on Fox, I guess, to now having to have 2 different streaming services. No, sorry, 3 different streaming services plus cable or of some sort. That's a lot. You can't, if you are a WWE fan, you have to spend a lot of money, unless you know of various means, to watch their product.
Yeah. They expanded their audience under the Peacock deal. I think that's fair to say. I think it's,
Absolutely.
I know a lot of new people that
They
started
saw
watching
what
wrestling.
streaming can do for them.
Yeah, a lot of new people started watching WWE because of the Peacock deal. They expanded their audience. They got a bunch of new diehards, and now they're at the point of, well, let's reap those rewards. We might lose people along the way, but if we can triple our profits or whatever, well, they're not going to triple. Sorry, they're not going to triple. ESPN's going to make money. They are making how much more money? I believe they said the Peacock deal. Okay, so they say that the full total of the Peacock PLE deal was $900 million of total rights fees, not a billion reported at the time. So if you're saying 900 million to 1.6 billion, 700 more $million over the course of 5 years. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty good, Scotty. And of course, Peacock, we should say, Peacock obviously tried to retain these PLEs. Apparently, Brian Alvarez reported that the Peacock bid was in the neighborhood of $275 million per year. Obviously, ESPN won with $325 million a year. But yeah, if WWE took this deal, even though it might affect that they might have less of their fans watching their shows because now their profits, their expenses just tripled, basically, Scotty. It didn't matter because WWE is making $700 million more over the course of the next 5 years.
Correct. And they also probably are thinking, well, we can make new fans. Different audience, right? You join ESPN, that's a different audience. Click and so on. Yeah, man, I'm so sick of this company.
Yeah. Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Also notable is that their Q2 year over year, $99.4 million increase year over year for this company. Oh, that's in total revenue, I should say. Yeah, making a lot of money. Hand over fist, whatever. We don't know exactly what's going to happen with their archive. They may or may not know. We don't necessarily know what's going to happen with the NXT stuff. Is it all going to stay at Peacock? Is it going to move around? I think at the very least, Scotty, they're going to try to sell it. There's NXT and maybe AAA as well.
Absolutely.
They're going to sell that. So if it stays to Peacock, it's a question whether or not it moves somewhere else. We don't know. But
yeah, we'll accept for now.
The strategy, obviously, with Nick Khan at the helm is to sell everything a la carte. You can buy whatever you want. We'll move things around. They believe, obviously, that their audience will follow and will pay for stuff, no matter what. Kind of certainly to other sports like NFL or something, baseball. Their audience will figure it out and follow, or a large majority, and they're making the money anyway, so it doesn't necessarily matter. There's conversations about this bubble. We've all expected this bubble to burst at some point. The bubble just keeps inflating over and over and over again. And it's kind of crazy. Every couple years, this bubble keeps inflating. So yeah, the Peacock deal started in March 5 years ago or 4 or 5 years ago. So presumably March again next year on ESPN. It will probably start with WrestleMania or maybe Elimination Chamber. I guess we'll find out next year. But yeah, ESPN going to make even more money. $700 million over the next 5 years. A crap ton of money. We've talked about WWE way too much on the show, Scotty. I feel like we have to move on and talk about some other company, some other promotion different than WWE, if that's okay with you.
That sounds wonderful. I hate talking about this company.
Let's, of course, talk about Triple Mania, different promotion from WWE.
Yeah, sold out, by the way.
What's that?
They sold it out. I read somewhere, and I don't know how true this is, so I'm just going off a secondhand translation here. Just from a tweet, but it sounds like they had to make a smaller stage because of how many tickets they're selling.
Hey, good for them. If I recall correctly, I feel like they sold out last year too.
I'm sure they did.
I'm pretty confident. I don't necessarily think the sellout is different. I don't have. This is going off my own brain, which, as we all know, longtime listeners know, is always wrong. My memory is always shot. But I feel strongly that Triple Mania sold out last year, and I don't necessarily know about the years previous because
they got a 2.86 last year on engagement.
Yeah, well, good for them. Previous years is also hard to tell because it's COVID. They also like split up the Triple Manias across 3 different things. But I believe the Mexico City one last year sold out.
You're probably right.
And I believe
it just sounds like they're selling even more.
Yeah, they're selling it even more, or rather, Scotty, because it's WWE, they sold out. All these sort of things. But
all right, I have a fun game for us because most of the show's not been fun. We're gonna compare cards.
Okay.
All right. So here was
go down the line.
Mania. Yeah, this is Triple Mania last year. So 32? We'll go match by match. Yes, 32 in Mexico City.
Was it a 5-match card like it is this year?
No. You probably would have wished it was, though.
That's how you know the WWE influence is strong. We have a 5-match card on
this is a 7-match card, a card that surely you would have loved to be shorter based on the ratings of this show. So your AAA Reina de Reinas match was Flammer versus Fabi Apache.
All right, this year it's Flammer versus Fabi Apache. They were adding Natalia.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened. Notably, that's odd.
The question here, Scotty, is if we add Natalia, is the match better?
Probably.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Can't be worse.
I think it is worth noting that I think Fabi Apache had left AAA and got brought back.
Great.
I think Natalia asked for her to come back.
Hilarious.
And now she's back. Just based on like what I'm seeing from Fabi Apache this year. I think she was gone from AAA since December of last year, but has wrestled the last 2 shows in July. So that's something.
Was she not one of the women that signed a WWE contract deal?
I could not begin to tell you, my friend. So
Slammer did, but save a finalist
being added to the women's match. You also had a Copa Bardal Cybernetico match.
Yeah, we don't got that this year.
Had Kenzo Suzuki in it, so
okay,
that's crazy. So we don't have that this year, so we can't compare that. The AAA World Tag Team Title match this year compared to last year. So this year it's Los Garza, Angel and Berto versus Pagano and Psycho Clown. Last year it was the champions Negro Casas and Psycho Clown defending against Dr. Wagner Jr., Galeno Damal, as well as Raj Desi and Satnam Singh.
This year's better.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That was not okay. So we don't have a cruiserweight match. So
can you believe, by the way, that Psycho Clown was on SmackDown and he ripped off his face?
Yeah,
unbelievable.
It
ruled, obviously, but it was unbelievable.
Cruiserweight title match: Commander versus Laredo Kid versus Matt Riddle.
Yep, nothing here. Is Matt Riddle still the cruiserweight champion in this company?
No, Laredo Kid won it back.
Okay, thank God.
I would argue. So the replacement for that this year is the AAA Latin American title match, which is El Macias versus El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr.
Okay? There's an argument that last year might have been better. The cruiserweight match.
For sure. But either way, oof. Then they're both
not ideal, but
no. You also had a casket match between Vampiro and El Macias. So
sure, that was Vampiro's retirement match, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
that was also the match I believe that had the return of La Parka.
Yeah, it's also the highest rated match on this show.
It was a fun brawl with a bunch of surprise returns like La Parka and other people.
So your hair versus mask Domo de la Muerte match was the main event of this show.
Okay.
So that's not the main event this year, obviously. Just to add, this year's Triple Mania has Lola Vice, Mr. Iguana, and Nino Hamburguesa versus Finn Balor, JC McDonough, and Raquel Rodriguez.
Every match except for the Latin American title has WWE people in it. And even then, El Hijo, the Dr. Wagner Jr. has signed the contract.
And then your main event, or your AAA mega title match last year, was Nick Nemeth versus Alberto.
This year is immediately 100% better. I mean, got to give it to WWE there.
Yeah, this year's AAA mega title match is a 4-way match as El Hijo de El Vikingo defends against El Grande Americano, which I believe is the Ludwig Kaiser edition.
Yep.
Dragon Lee.
Yep.
And the face of AAA, Dominic Mysterio.
Unbelievable. Believable, but unbelievable. Yeah. By the way, Fabi Apache did not sign the contract, so she's probably there's an argument Natalya could win, if not Flamer.
Yeah. I'm sure Natalya.
Yeah, I mean, this show is better than last year.
Yeah.
I think the tag title and the 4-way main event helps significantly.
We're reviewing this show?
What's that?
Are we going to review this show?
We might.
It's free on YouTube.
Free on YouTube, but then we might. It's on Saturday. We'll have the chance. Look, there's WWE people all over this show, like we said. There's people that but at the same time, I think there's going to be these WWE people that might work hard, like Angel Humberto, Los Garza. I think Natalya is going to work hard, as hard as she can work. The 4-way, I'm interested to see what it looks like. Obviously, Vikingo is going to get booed at the stadium, and Dominic is going to get cheered like hell. Maybe Americano and even Dragon Lee will get cheered as well. But obviously, Dominic will be the face, the ace.
The face and the ace.
They're obviously looking at a 5-card match already. WWE influence all over the show, not only in the roster,
I think
but
one
the
more
card layout.
Randomly.
What's that?
I think one more may get added randomly.
Possibly. I mean, the fact that look, if you want to talk about WWE influence, these are all title matches, Scotty. Not a single hair versus hair, mask versus mask match on Triple Mania.
You do have Finn Balor though, so that's awesome.
I guess we can't discount Finn Balor though.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, the show should be better, but it's also better in the sense because it's not AAA anymore.
Yeah.
Which
sure.
If
AAA was bad,
if you're a Lucha fan, in theory, culturally, that's bad. Yeah. But at the same time, AAA sucks as a promotion. So
right. No, you're right. I just keep looking at this card and find myself confused. Well, the Ace is going to win the AAA Mega Championship. So
I'm pretty confident Dominic is going to win. El Hijo, Dr.
Which, by the way,
win.
If you're going to pick a WWE guy to win it, that's the right choice.
Yeah, I think Dominic's going to win. I think Dr. Wagner Jr. is going to win. I think Los Garza is going to win. I think, I don't know, Mr. Iguana might win. He could lose.
Maybe.
He could lose. Not. Judgment Day could win. Yeah. And I think Flammer is probably going to win. And they're going to pin Fabi Apache. Whoever's going to win, Fabi Apache is getting pinned. But
yeah. I think it'll be a interesting show.
I think it'll be an interesting show. I guess. Did we cover it? I guess. I don't know.
I guess why not? Well, we don't have anything else to cover next week.
Yeah, that's true.
I unjoking. We haven't reviewed a show in months.
Yeah,
on this show. My hot take, which I think I've kind of said this, I like Dominic Mysterio. Unjokingly,
well known.
So, I'm fascinated to watch this guy get cheered.
Yeah.
Do you think WWE would do Dominic versus Ray in Mexico on AAA?
Yeah.
I mean, that's gigantic if they do that.
I think they would do that. And they would do it for some show, I don't know, Triple Mania next year or something like that.
Yeah. They should do that. It's going to be pretty crazy watching the AAA mega title just get run around on Raw.
Yeah, on the IC champion, the Intercontinental champion, the mid-card belt.
Yeah. But hey, Dominic Mysterio is the star of the show, literally.
When people talk about lineages of titles, Scotty, sometimes it's this fun lineage of a title and it goes back 30 years. This title's lineage is crazy for the past 5 years.
Yeah,
Maybe a little bit less than 4, maybe.
If you want to start with 2017, you had John Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had Dr. Wagner Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, gotta get
Then
double.
you had Ray Phoenix, Kenny Omega, vacant. El Hijo del Vikingo, vacant. Nick Nemeth, Alberto El Patron, Vikingo again, and soon to be Dirty Dom himself.
Yeah, unbelievable. This company is insane.
Unbelievable.
5 years.
Is this the healthiest Triple A's been since probably, looks at the reigns, Kenny Omega was their world champion?
Maybe, probably. You gotta think so.
Well, he did hold the title for 765 days. So
yeah, that certainly helps for sure. I think he won it before the pandemic, maybe.
Yeah, and then he had to drop it because his body was broken down.
Yeah, he practically died.
He sure did. He sure did.
G1 Climax. Let's finish strong here, Scotty. G1 Climax.
Yeah, let's finish strong here with the company that I see people like very sad about right now. Not because of the wrestling, but rather realizing New Japan is in a rebuild. And I don't think fans can accept that fully.
Yeah.
I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, I've seen the moment I saw someone compare this to like early 2000s New Japan, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like it's like they have a bunch of guys that are like pretty good, but like no big like stars really.
They lack stars right now.
Yeah, and they're developing, and I think like people that came into New Japan, especially during the rise of Tanahashi and Okada, when they have no stars here, they start losing their minds a little bit.
Yep.
And that's fine. I get it. I get it.
Which is fascinating because I feel like every day there's a G1 show. Well, not every day, but most days there's a G1 show. I hear something great. And
I think largely the G1 has been really solid. I think there's been pretty much like a really good to great match almost on every show, every day.
And it's usually involving the youth.
Yeah.
Like it's like that's the good thing.
Sometimes that's why Tanahashi.
That's true. But that's why I'm always so confused. Like I was like, why is everyone so depressed? Like all the young guys are delivering. Like that's
in
what
some
you
ways,
wanted
I feel like
from
this is a
tournament.
hopeful show, G1,
right? And everyone's like, well, we got to rebuild, and I was like, it happens. Like this is what happens to wrestling companies that aren't like WWE. Because at the end of the day, they can just pay whoever and whatever. Even AEW had to rebuild for a little bit there, right?
Yeah.
This is how it goes. New Japan's just been here for so long, right? That it's like, oh, well, shit, now we kind of have to figure this out. But I don't know.
And also they're like historically slow, so.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very behind in the tournament. I will be caught up by the time we get to the final because that will be my week. But for instance, what was the last match I watched from this tournament?
What night?
I don't know. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Ryohei Oiwa. Whenever that was.
That was early. I think it was like night 3 or 4.
That was the 27th of July.
Oof.
It is
I'm on night
August 10th.
Scotty, I'm not any better. I'm night 6. That's where I finished.
I think that's where I'm pretty much.
Yeah.
Like I think we're pretty close. But I will be caught up by next week. That is my plan. That will be my focus. I don't know if anyone knows this. There's been other tournaments going on that I've had to cover. So like if I'm watching wrestling, I'm literally just watching those and then taking every other day of my life off because I'm so like not into it. Like I just watched Hangman versus Moxley 2 nights ago.
The Dynamite show.
No, All In. All right. I'm that far behind. Everything I said on this show when we reviewed it, a lie. Yeah, no, the Dynamite one, which was really fun, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm 2
Dynamites behind. The thing with me is that I got sick, and the problem with me getting sick is that like my brain fog gets so crazy that like I can't even focus on watching TV.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, that's fair.
Like I can't play video games. I can't watch a movie or something. It's just I can't focus.
That's tough. That's kind of like what people kind of fall to when they're sick.
I know. I can't.
So like, what do you do?
I just kind of like listen to podcasts or something or music or
okay. That's fine.
I do something.
Everyone's
else,
got something. Yeah, no, for sure. No, that's fair. Yeah, I spend a lot of my time now not doing wrestling stuff. So because I've been recording so much for the
Yeah,
tournament
you
that
got
I'm like, I don't
5-star.
want.
You got Marigold just started, I believe, right?
Yeah, yeah, that started last weekend, so it's a lot. But yeah, we're the 5-star ends in 2 weeks from yesterday,
Sure.
I think. So that will be nice. Not that I have a problem with it. I've
Yeah.
enjoyed the tournament turned the corner since the last time we talked, which is great.
Yeah.
But
G1
it's just a
ends next
lot.
week, then 5-star the week after that.
Yeah,
Marigold some point.
I've been pretty bummed not getting to follow some of the G1 just because I'm going to watch it, but it's like I would have liked to see this in real time because I
Look,
hear about Uemura being great, I hear about Oiwa being great, I hear about Tsuji being great. I don't really hear about Shota Umino being great, but that makes sense because he stinks.
Look, and to be fair to what we just said, you and I are super behind on the G1, so maybe there is a turn that it's less good than we think, and maybe that's why everyone is like reacting the way they are.
Maybe, but like people I trust always are saying like this match was outstanding, and it's like every day they have a show. At least every day A Block has a show. Let me rephrase.
That's true. I mean, I've seen some great stuff about B Block for sure too.
Yeah, that was earlier for the most part. That I remember. Again, I don't remember the timing anymore. I don't know.
Yeah,
Everything's
no worries. Well, let's talk about G1 blocks real quick. We have the A block is finished for all intents and purposes of the tournament, of the round robin tournament. They have the playoffs coming up. B block has one more night. We'll talk about that. And then they finish. Of course, this year they do the round robin, and then they have the top 3 of each block move on into a playoff tournament final situation. And then the finals will be next week on Sunday. The A block has been figured out as thus. The people that are advancing to the playoffs are David Finlay and Yota Tsuji, and Evil, who will be getting a bye in the first round.
You're goddamn right.
And goddamn right, baby. And Evil will be getting a bye and moving on into the semifinals immediately. And Evil will be taking on the winner between Yota Tsuji and whoever's the second top scorer for Block B.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's how it works. It's Evil versus the winner of Yota Tsuji and the second top scorer of Block B, whoever that may be.
That's confusing.
It is very confusing. That's all it is.
But Yota Tsuji beating Evil is not. That was something I think we even said once upon a time. So that makes sense.
So yeah, the people that make it, obviously Bull Noleg, Yuya Uemura, Callum Newman, Rohei Oiwa, Sonata, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Taichi. That's everyone like in order descending.
Shout out Bolton Oleg, by the way. That dude rules.
He's doing real well. Yuya Uemura also re-shining. Block A, real
Yuya Uemura's the guy, right? Like we can agree, he's the guy.
I think so.
That is your next ace, and then Yota Tsuji's your Naito.
I think so. Sorry, Shota.
No one's Okada. So
yeah, that's the star problem, I guess, technically. Block B, what we know so far is that Zack Sabre Jr. is in. The problem is that he's not necessarily the top number 1 scorer in the block so far. There are certainly people that can still get in. Those with 10 points: crazy. Ren Narita, Shota Umino, Konosuke Takeshita. And I guess there's a possibility for 8-point getters, Drilla Maloney, Great Khan, and Shingo Takagi to get in as well. Those eliminated so far are Yoshihashi, ELP, and Gabe Kidd, obviously because he suffered an injury. So there's always possibilities of who number 2 and number 3 will be, but we do know the IWGP champion Zack Sabre Jr. is already in. Block B will get settled on Wednesday. Scotty, I have those matches if you want to try to figure out who's number 2 and number 3.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Evil versus Tanahashi got rated 1.5 for our Cage match, which means I'm gonna think it ruled.
One of those things of, well, I guess I gotta watch. Look, it's the Ryan thing of I gotta watch to see why the fuck he gets one. Someone's giving it half a star.
I don't hate Evil like everyone else does, so I'll probably enjoy it.
Block B, like I said, getting figured out on Wednesday. The matches are as thus. Don't know in order per se. This might be actually in order. It says 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, so this might be in order. Block B, we have 8-point getter versus 8-point getter. Shingo Takagi versus Drilla Maloney.
I think Shingo eliminates Drilla.
Yeah, someone's getting eliminated. Someone is going to be in continued contention based on other matches, so we'll see. Yoshihashi versus Zack Sabre Jr. This match doesn't really matter. Zack Sabre Jr. is already in. Yosihashi's already eliminated.
Yoshihashi should beat him, though.
I agree. It doesn't matter, so Yoshihashi should win. I think that'd be fun.
Vengeance for Goto.
Another Block B match. Shota Umino versus Great Okan. Shota Umino has 10 points. Great Okan has 8. So this is a chance for Great Okan to knock Shota Umino out of the tournament. But obviously, if Shota Umino wins, then he's 100% in.
Remember how freaking bad their matches were previously? I'm so happy that this match now matters.
Yeah, it matters. It's important.
It will think.
It could be bad. It doesn't matter, but we'll see. And then this match, maybe possibly the main event. Whoever wins, even if they tie, I think they might. I don't know if they tie if they both go in per se, but they both have 10 points. Ren Narita versus Konosuke Takeshita. Ren Narita working, he's doing a little bit of the House of Torture nonsense, but he's also doing a lot of limb work this year. Konosuke Takeshita, obviously, probably the MVP of Block B. But this is going to be whoever wins goes in, whoever loses does not go in, probably. So I'm looking at Takeshita, Ren Narita, and then probably Shota Umino, maybe Shingo, but I think that's a stretch. But I think it's probably Shota Umino and someone between, and probably Takeshita, realistically speaking.
Zack, Shota, and Takeshita are my picks.
And if it's Zack, Shota, and Takeshita, in terms of various things, Shota Umino has the win over Zack Sabre Jr. Takeshita has the loss to Zack Sabre Jr. And then Shota Umino and Takeshita, Umino has the win. So Umino would be number 1. They would all have 12 points. Umino would have the block tiebreakers over those guys. So Umino would be number 1, then Zack Sabre Jr., then Takeshita at 3rd, which would then mean Shota Umino gets a bye.
That's fine. Less matches.
Great counterpoint. We would then get Zack Sabre Jr. versus Yota Tsuji, the winner of which would face Evil. And then we would get David Finlay versus Konosuke Takeshita, the winner of which faces Shota Umino.
This is perfect. This is exactly what should happen. Just ignore the semifinals after that because no one will be happy with those.
Yeah, those are pretty good playoffs, honestly.
Yeah, like you want these matches to happen because they're happening in 1, Cork and Hall. Hello. Mm-hmm. And 2, that's just great. Yeah, no, I'm cool with that personally. I think that's exactly what should happen. I think I want it to happen. I'll just not watch the semifinals and someone can tell me what the final is the day after.
Then who do you got to winning? Zack Sabre Jr. or Yota Tsuji? It's got to be Tsuji, right?
It's got to be Tsuji. It's got to be Big Tsuji. This has been a tournament of learning consistency. It sounds like for Big Yota Tsuji. I've only heard great things about him. I don't want to say he's been outshined because I think just you're watching you more morph into the guy everyone hoped he was, so that gets a little more talking. Yeah. Well, I think a lot more people had less concerns about Tsuji than us, as we've talked about. And obviously you're a big Tsuji guy, but even just hearing his consistent quality is a great thing because that was always his one thing, right? It's like he's got the ability, he's got the skill set, he just needs to make it all consistently connect. So that's been great. I think Tsuji beating Zack works, but then does he win the tournament if that happens?
He beat Evil?
Oh, he's definitely beating Evil. Was Tsuji in the final last year?
I believe so, maybe.
Against Zack? What the hell was the final last year? All right, let me
Are you looking that up?
Yeah, let me check the tape.
In the tournament this year, Evil beat Tsuji. So if Tsuji faces Evil again, you have to thank Tsuji getting the win.
Run it back. Yeah. No. What is the name of this tournament? The G1 Climax. It was Zack defeating Tsuji. Yeah. So there you go.
So Scotty, what we're laying out here is Tsuji beating Zack Sabre Jr., not only a champion, but the guy who he lost to in the G1 Climax last year. Mm-hmm. Then facing Evil, a guy that he lost to in the tournament. Then someone in the finals. Let's look at the other side. David Finlay versus Takeshita. How are we feeling?
Yeah, I think
that's a win-win either way for me personally.
Yeah, I think
everyone at large would want Takeshita.
Hot take. I want a rebel.
I think look. We all love Takeshita. He's having a great year, undoubtedly. But you can't be a New Japan fan and say that we should have an outsider win when we got a Rebel right here.
Exactly.
Bigger Dave.
Give me the Rebel.
Bigger Dave is available. He's doing great too, right?
He's David Finlay. Of course he's doing great, man. He started off like 0-3 or something.
Yeah.
I think. And has now turned it around, which is always a fun little story. Yeah, give me a Rebel beating Konosuke Takeshita. Sorry. Maybe people don't like that, but I do because I need a Rebel.
Former global heavyweight champion versus former never openweight champion. You know,
point to the sign, Jim.
Bigger Dave, indeed. But you know, you got the former like these champions, and one was higher on the card than the other. So
yeah, I think David Finlay winning works all around.
I agree. I mean, obviously, both of us.
And then he should squash Shota Umino the next day.
Yeah, Shota Umino. That's what sucks. Shota Umino versus Dave Finlay.
Now it is worth noting, Shota Umino beat Takeshita in this tournament. So
yeah. So if Takeshita wins, then you would obviously similarly assume that Takeshita would then beat Shota Umino. However, Scotty, that feels way too similar to the other side of the bracket that we laid out. And so that tells me that maybe David Finlay gets the win over Takeshita. And then we got A block versus B block, Shota Umino versus David Finlay.
Genuinely nervous.
Genuinely nervous.
Yeah, no, I don't feel good about David winning both.
Because of that fear, I think Shota Umino's winning, no matter what.
I do too. I think the final is Tsuji versus Shota. They finally put those two in the big spot. And I think Yota Tsuji wins the tournament.
Me too.
And I think he challenges before Wrestle Kingdom because he already beat Zack Sabre Jr. literally in this playoff.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
And I think that makes your main event for Wrestle Kingdom Tsuji and
Yuya. Possibly. I don't think that's necessarily bad. Yeah. So I guess it comes down to: are we doing the well, I don't forget what was that show. Why do I forget the show? But Zack Sabre Jr. won the title at.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
That show. I always forget the name of it. Power Struggle? Power Struggle.
That sounds right.
Is he going to win the title there? Is that what they're going to do that bit again? He wins a Power Struggle, and then we have whoever's going to challenge at Wrestle Kingdom. Could be Shota Umino again. That's always a fear. Could be Yuya Uemura. I wouldn't be opposed to that in any capacity. Obviously, there are other people available, but
here my
Goto comes back from filming.
Hear my pitch here, and you could tell me if I'm out to lunch on this. Putting Yuya versus Yota on the show that Hiroshi Tanahashi retiring is the smartest choice they can make because you're bringing more eyes instantly for that show, right? And you want to project the future of New Japan as Tanahashi says farewell. I think you put those two in that spot, especially if Shota Umino is losing the G1 Climax final like we are pitching here. Yuya Uemura beat Tsuji in this tournament? I think
Uemura, Tsuji beat Uemura.
Ooh, tough. Okay, a little curveball, but I still think it can work. The difficulty here is Tanahashi main eventing the Dome?
I don't think so. I don't
Probably
think he would be main eventing the Dome. Unless you wanted to have Tanahashi face Tsuji or Zach, or we're assuming Tsuji wins, but
yeah. I mean that would be probably a very smart choice.
Yeah.
If you want him to be a retirement opponent. Yeah, I don't know what happens, but I'm happy with Tsuji winning the tournament. I'm not happy with Shota Umino being in there. But hey, I understand what they're trying to do.
By the way, not Power Struggle. King of Pro Wrestling is the show.
They change it every year. It's fine.
Power Struggle's
November.
I
know what you meant.
The October one is King of Pro Wrestling. Power Struggle's November. So the thing is that we don't necessarily know what's going to happen there. I think we have a good idea of the template for the tournament. I think that's going to be fun and interesting. That leaves us with Tsuji getting the win. Does he beat Zack Sabre Jr.? I like the idea of him beating Zack Sabre Jr. more than Zack Sabre Jr. winning.
I could see them just wait till Wrestle Kingdom for that too.
I also agree. I think, there was some pushback on the King of Pro Wrestling thing last year, and part of that was it might have hurt. Now, granted, I don't know if we have the announcement of whether or not we're doing Wrestle Dynasty again. I think
I don't have that announcement.
So we'll probably get that at Forbidden Door, if anything, which is obviously later this month. Zack Sabre Jr. defending the title there.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you brought it up, let's talk about Forbidden Door real quick. The AEW and New Japan Presents Forbidden Door show. Great card. Right?
Yeah.
You agree? We're in agreement? Yeah.
It's still very much coming together, but so far.
Yeah. I really like all the New Japan talent on this show.
Yeah. Zack Sabre Jr.
And
well, you'll have a Stardom wrestler in the TBS match.
That will happen, maybe someday. I don't know how
New Japan tag team to face the Hurt Syndicate.
Nope. They're doing a tournament on TV to decide that.
You're right. It's gonna be like the Young Bucks or something.
Yeah. No, it's No, it's actually FTR or what's the name of the team? Brodito,
yeah.
Shut up, Brodito.
Okay, and then unified titles already been decided. And, it's
you
Okada.
Being behind on Dynamite makes this way funnier for me. So it's like I'm also behind, obviously, but I understand like how we got here, and I just want to say, I have no problem with the show being booked like this. I think we just need to change the name moving forward.
Well, I feel like if I recall, I feel like we have this problem every year where it's just like New Japan doesn't want to announce anything until after the G1 Climax is over.
Sure. Sure. Okay.
It's literally ends next week, and then they have, because I recall this same problem previously. The G1 Climax ends next week, and then the week after that's Forbidden Door.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. But CMLL's not doing a tournament. They could announce stuff with them very easily.
True. That's true.
Yeah, no, I have no problem with that. I just think moving forward, we should move on from the Forbidden Door, like this is just AEW New Japan, and just open it up a little bit more. Like, AEW and New Japan Presents is a tough sell.
I think we should. I think we should get Hobbs and Shaw to present. Personally.
So, do you know what the Zack Sabre Jr. title match is going to be?
It's a match between either. Who are the participants? Hechicero was one of them. That was the only one I remembered because I want to see that match. Again. Nigel McGuinness, Lee Moriarty, and Daniel
Garcia. The IWGP World Heavyweight title.
I mean, Hechicero.
It's fascinating. I think it should be.
Nigel McGuinness.
It should be Hechicero. I expect Nigel.
In the UK. Nigel. I would be fine with Nigel.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm against it.
Yeah.
And then Kyle Fletcher did say, like, I want to face New Japan's best. So,
yep.
I don't know who that is, but that's two. That's two New Japan matches.
What about Yuya Uemura?
That would fucking rule.
What about Oleg Boltin defending the title against someone on AEW's roster? Oh, Oleg Boltin versus Brody King.
Yeah.
Brodito aren't doing anything.
That would be great. Yeah. No, I think the problem, and this is just kind of a me thing, thinking aloud. I think a lot of people just in New Japan don't want to travel.
Yeah.
And I think that's like,
blame them.
No, not at all.
To be fair, it's also in London this year. It's not necessarily America, which I don't know if that's any better. But
I don't know if that's better. I don't want to go to London. But that's just me. I just think it's a fascinating combo because I think the idea of Forbidden Door should be destroyed, and we should just make it a super relationship show.
Yeah,
presented by AEW.
That's kind of what Wrestle Dynasty is now,
Yeah, but like I don't know if that's yearly. So until I'm proven and told that is, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna act like this. Because listen. Here's the thing: Okada versus Swerve. Obviously, I'm not complaining. I am here for that.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Storm versus Athena. I'm here for that.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. You know those evil guys. They hate Speedball. By the way, that video they posted. Did you see it? It's incredible.
Yep.
That versus FTR or Brodito, gonna be awesome. Mercedes Moné versus Alex Winter versus CMLL versus Stardom. I could have used just a singles Mercedes Moné.
Just say Persephone.
Yeah, Persephone and Azumi. Let's just be honest with all ourselves. Let's not act like this is going to be overly complicated. That's going to be really good.
You know what? No, look. If I was AEW, I would try to throw in Bozilla here. We all know Bozilla wants to go to the States and work.
Would be fascinating. I would not.
Bozilla's in the area, technically, in a way.
She is, yeah.
She's of European descent.
I do expect Azumi, but I would welcome that change up.
Yeah.
For sure. That would be fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so my point is to end this show because I think we want to end on a positive note.
Try to
give me one CMLL sort of edition, and then give me one New Japan edition that isn't Oleg versus someone.
In terms
that
of just like a match,
makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense for you on this show.
Okay. They did it. They did the title match on Ring of Honor tapings recently, and I would think they should do another title match proper on the Forbidden Door show. I would like to see Sky Team defend the trios titles versus, I don't know. Let's do like, I don't know, Speedball, Jet Speed, and like a third. I don't know who that may be, but AR Fox or something. I don't know.
They did team with Hangman Page on Collision last night.
Well, is he busy? Would he be busy?
He's not. I don't know what he's doing. Like I know he's facing MJF soon. Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably.
So maybe. That because I don't know what's happening there.
Nothing says New Japan presents like MJF in a world title match.
But yeah, I'll throw out Sky Team defending the trios titles versus like somebody.
Yeah, that's good shit, Ryan.
Yeah,
that's good shit.
And then I mean, did you say Stardom or New Japan?
New Japan, because that's on the billing.
Yeah, I mean, if it was Stardom, obviously it's Suri. Obviously,
you're not getting that.
I know, but that's the obvious.
She is wrestling that day. You are not getting that. Sorry,
for New Japan. I do like the idea of like Oleg Boltin defending the title. I think that's like a fun, like, down card match sort of thing.
Gabe was definitely defending the belt on this before he got
fully hurt. Agree. I think the reason Hangman and Page is not doing anything is because it was supposed to be him versus Kid. I think that's why it's confusing right now, is because it was meant to be him versus Kid, which would make sense because of all the Kid John Moxley stuff.
What do you think?
Which also, by the way, we also know that Ospreay is going to be returning on the show in some capacity, so he's going to face somebody.
Is he for sure?
Well, I'm gone.
I learned.
I learned a week ago injury that puts me out for 3-4 weeks just in time for Forbidden Door.
Okay.
So
interesting.
He'll be back.
He is on the poster after all.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll be back. I just don't know what capacity.
Here's my pitch. You like my pitch for the New Japan match? Morph this together in my head. This is actually kind of like a different idea that kind of goes with your Sky Team idea. I was going to do like an all-star 3-way tag match type thing. Get a little AEW representation there, a little CMLL representation there, and a little New Japan representation there. So you get like, let's say Tsuji and Hiromu.
Okay.
You get if your Sky Team thing doesn't happen, you get Dorada and Mystico.
Okay.
And on the AEW side, you obviously have plenty of talent to choose from. And I think the best combo there would be Brodito.
Can I counter with this? Make it simplify things. Counter with this.
Yes.
El Desperado IWGP Junior Heavyweight Title defense versus Bandito.
Fuck yeah, man.
Then run it back a Death Before Dishonor. Well, that's that Hechicero match. Never mind.
Yeah, which is also awesome, to be fair. So it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of avenues here that they can go. Ricochet should be on the show.
Yeah.
What would we do Ricochet versus Yota Tsuji?
I mean, I think that's good. I mean, you could also do Ricochet versus Oleg Boltin, really he can flop all around for Boltin.
I think you save the MJF match for All In, by the way, or All Out, sorry.
Yeah.
And you do Hangman versus someone.
I think that's the idea. I think Hangman, it would have been Hangman versus Kid here, and then probably would have been Hangman versus MJF at All Out. I think.
What if it's Evil? I'm just kidding. He's not going to go.
I do really like. More I think about it, Ricochet versus Boltin Oleg, like a down card sort of never open weight title match. I like that a lot. I mean, you might want to have Ricochet win that match over Boltin, but I don't think so.
You know what? Actually, what is Tanahashi doing?
Oh yes, Tanahashi needs to be doing. Is he against Ospreay? Is that the match?
Dear God, that would be sick. I hope so.
What about? Oh no! It's Kyle Fletcher.
Oh,
Tanahashi historically loves Kyle Fletcher.
Oh, you're probably right then.
Yeah, I think it's Tanahashi versus Kyle Fletcher for the TNT title.
Here's my world title pitch. Lock in.
Okay.
For the first time in his career, he competes at Forbidden Door, fresh off losing in the G1 playoffs. Hangman Page versus David Finlay.
Yeah. Throw back to that one random Dynamite match.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. But it's way better now.
Yeah. I like that. I think that would be fun. I think, if you want to get like the theme of like the BCC again, there is something to House of Torture Evil, legitimately.
They could do Shingo.
Yeah, you could do Shingo.
We know they are fine having Shingo take losses.
Yeah. I think there's options to do something.
This doesn't sell tickets, but it sells tickets in my heart. Hangman Page versus Ryohei Oiwa.
Yeah.
That sells tickets in my heart.
I think Evil's also legitimately, I think it's not a bad shot because I think there's a thematic thing to it, to House of Torture and BCC.
Bad people would be. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I would enjoy it. People would go nuts. I would enjoy it.
But let's get that out of here. Thanks, everyone.
Let's get the hell out of here. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Ring Post Radio. Obviously, like we said, I want to hear that continued conversation earlier about, the WWE coverage of it all. I want to hear more about what you think of the show. Thoughts on 4 years of Ring Post Radio. If you have any thoughts on that, you can obviously leave a comment. I think that'd be the best way to get in touch to us at this point. Or you can obviously at us on the various social medias where we are. But leaving a comment might be the best one. Just giving, build the community here on YouTube, I guess. Follow us on Ring Post Radio Podcast, where you get podcasts. You can obviously subscribe to the YouTube channel to get more. Listen to all the podcasts on the Countout Network. Scotty, plugs, match of the week.
Yeah, plugs, youtube.com/@Scotty Wrestling. If you want to live the 5-star Grand Prix and the Dreamstar Grand Prix with me, I review every single day of the tournament. I just put up the combined day 3 and day 4 review for Marigold's Dreamstar Grand Prix. That dropped at 10 a.m. So go check that out. In terms of the 5-star Grand Prix, we are through 7 days. I will be doing day 8 immediately after this recording. So if you want to hear my thoughts on Rina versus Natsupoi, Starlight Kid versus Natsuko Tora, and anything else from the show that I can't remember, that is the place to do it. I've had a really good time. The tournaments have picked up. Stardom 5 stars really doing good. The Dream Star is kind of designed to pick up once the 5 stars over. Like their next major show is the Korakuen, which is the 30th. So it's a fascinating aspect, but I think once the 5 stars over, the Dream Star picks up. So plenty of tournament wrestling over here. I'll have continued reviews for both of those. Having a lot of fun doing it. It's really tiring, but I am having fun, and that's what matters. My match of the week. Holy shit. That's a great question. I should probably celebrate the 5-star Grand Prix with this.
Sure.
We'll do Sari. I know, shocker. Versus Suzu Suzuki from the show on Saturday. That was great. My match of the tournament thus far.
God damn.
Yeah, great stuff. That is my match of the week. Thank you everyone for having me back in your hearts, in your ears. I got complaints last week that we didn't have a show, and I said, too bad. Just didn't have it in me. Ryan was sick. Things happen. We don't usually miss most weeks. We like to not miss most weeks.
We prefer not. Scott even messaged me that he couldn't do it, and he's like, "You can go ahead without me." And I was like, "I'm sick. I can't do it."
Yeah,
anyway.
you were like, I was kind of need to count on you, so we're just gonna say no.
I was gonna barrel through as best I can, but I'm actively sick.
But hey, we'll be back now. Let me re-talk because I can't. We'll be back next week. I'm going to do this for you, Ryan. So I get, this is fill in for last week when you were sick and I couldn't come through. We'll talk the G1 final next week. That's pretty fun. We'll talk Triple Mania, as Ryan likes to call it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll also preview, I believe, Forbidden Door.
Yeah. Which whatever we can do with that, we'll get maybe some new CMLL, New Japan announcements, Stardom maybe, I don't know. Probably not Stardom, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll preview that. I could try to preview the 5-star final. By then we'll not know what the final looks like, so that's awesome. But we'll have the playoffs by then.
By next week?
Yeah, the playoffs will be set. We can kind of give a little thought on that. So plenty next week to talk about, which is always exciting. But Ryan, before we get out of here, I kick it over to you for your plugs, your match of the week, and anything else you have going on. I know the N1 hasn't announced their field yet. I know you're waiting for that for your N1 show-by-show review this year.
Yeah, maybe. Match of the week. I'm just gonna say
that man just said nah.
Match of the week. We'll see. Night 6, Shingo versus Takeshita, 4.25.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Pretty great, folks.
I did see that.
My plugs. Go see Naked Gun. I just saw it yesterday. Pretty good movie. Pretty funny. Pretty funny bits. Did enjoy it.
You're in it.
I'm not necessarily.
Your name's in it.
I could point to various locations and sets, Scotty, and tell you when I was there that day to drop off payroll.
That's the spirit.
I can tell you where
you were in it. You were in it, as far as I'm concerned. You're the movie star here.
My last name was misspelled in the credits. That's fine. And I was sent a strongly worded letter to Leah Neeson to fix it.
Did they do IE?
They forgot the last E. They did NEITZY.
Oh,
a rare misspelling. Typically I don't really get that.
Yeah.
I don't really get that.
IETZEY.
It's typically NIETZY.
Not just completely ditching the E.
Yeah, it's a rare misspelling, but it does happen.
Was it still close to your name though?
What's that?
Was it still close to your name in the movie?
It was cool. It was a fun little thing to experience. It is disappointing that it's misspelled, but it's fun to work in the industry for so long and work on like TV shows and all these other things. Like I've seen my name in credits for like the Kennedy Center Honors or something like that, but sorry, the Donald Trump Center Honors. And it's fun to see like my name in credits for that. And TV shows, like, it's tough to see your credits for TV shows because like typically they speed through the credits. But like going to a theater and seeing your name up there, it's a fun little feeling, It is like a childhood dream to a certain extent for me. It just sucks that it might be my last credit. I don't know. We'll see.
If you believe in yourself, it won't be.
Yeah. I've seen Jesse's name in the credits like a billion times. So you can literally pull up Guardians 3 on Disney Plus and see her name in the credits.
Well, we'll be able to pull up wherever. I don't know where Naked Gun's going to land, but wherever that is.
Paramount Plus, I think.
Okay,
well, it's Paramount Plus, so it's also, I have no idea. You want a fun fact about that movie? Here's a fun fact. In Ring Post Radio exclusive. Originally, the movie was supposed to be a Paramount Plus exclusive. And then at some point during the filming, they decided to change it to a theatrical release. Fun fact.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's got a lot of love. So.
Yeah. And also, you want another exclusive? I believe we hired Pamela Anderson, or it was either Pamela Anderson or the villain. I don't remember which one. The day before we started filming.
Oh, well,
or maybe the Friday before, but like it was extremely.
It worked out for Liam Neeson. He found love.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him. Other than that, other plugs. Watch that movie. New episode of The Ballot out this week, this Wednesday.
Ooh,
all about FTR.
Ooh.
So get excited for that. It'll be out this Wednesday.
Are they Hall of Famers? Find out.
Yes. Find out. Find out.
I was trying to stall the show, and you're like, yeah, well.
Yeah. Figure out the case. I think they have something. I don't think it's fully there yet, but we'll certainly discuss it, and you can hear more about it, about FTR this week, this Wednesday on the Ballot podcast. That is it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. We've already talked about what we're going to do next week. Scotty, any other last thoughts?
I thought you were going to plug the guest for the ballot, and you didn't.
Okay, I can. The guest of the ballot is from Voices of Wrestling, The Good, The Bad, and The Hungry podcast, their AEW podcast, Fred Moreland. So
there we go. Got the plug in.
So you can listen to me and Fred honestly chop it up, Scotty. Great.
Chop it up.
Great. That's fun episode to listen to. I greatly enjoyed it. So go check that out this Wednesday on the Ballot podcast. We'll be back next week, Ring Post Radio, for all new episode. And until then, we'll talk to you all later. Goodbye, everybody.